Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to The Lobby, GameSpot's weekly video game hangout here in San Francisco, California. Every Wednesday, I'm your host, Mike Mahardy, here with reviews editor Peter Brown.
Tiny dancer.
Peter Brown.
Hi.
That was a cool pre-show loop that we ran. Little callback to when you did a Link Between Worlds joke.
I'm not at all ashamed to say that I am really proud of that.
Yeah, it was rolling for a while. Editor Callie Plaggy.
Hello.
And Rob Hamlery, what do you do here?
No.
Just kidding.
This is fun.
Video producer Rob Hamlery. We're here as usual. Kind of a light week, but also kind of not. We're busy with a lot of Destiny 2 beta stuff. We'll be getting to that during the show. Our initial impressions for Bungie's sequel, which comes out in September. Not crazy far away. Splatoon 2. Callie, your review is finally up. Mm-hmm. We talked about single player last week, but now we can dive into single player a little more, although we can't talk past a certain point.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll dive into some
multiplayer.
Yes, some multiplayer stuff too as well. Now that the full review is up, you gave it an 8 out of 10. We can talk more about that. Also, EVO, the fighting game tournament, happened last weekend in Vegas. Richard Lee, who's here in the studio behind the cameras right now, was also there playing some Street Fighter, maybe? Yeah? No? Yeah, he's saying yes. And then we're just going to get into a few news bits today, as usual. We do have a giveaway, as usual, but I'm going to hold off to the end of the show. And Goob, don't try going into the GameSpot Twitch chat after Shiva posted on Twitter, because I told her to hold off, so 2 steps ahead of you, buddy. Cool. So, news. Not a lot of Kingdom Hearts love in the office, I have since discovered, since we talked about Kingdom Hearts 3. We talked to Tetsuya Nomura, the director, on why the game is taking so long. I think it was an event where they interviewed him after D23, because they announced that Toy Story is involved with Kingdom Hearts now. For some reason, Pete, you were thinking it was funny that we were the only outlet to ask what's taking so long.
I mean, I didn't read absolutely every interview, but from the coverage I saw, we were the only ones that really just sort of asked that question outright. Because, I forget when they announced this game.
It's been 12 years since Kingdom Hearts 2 came out on PS2, but yeah, they announced 3. I'll see it in a second. But yeah, essentially they conflated to switching to Unreal Engine 4 took a bunch of time out of their plans.
And moving staff around for a couple projects. It's not surprising.
Yeah.
But I feel like they show so little of this game that it's hard to believe that they've made as much progress as they want us to think.
Yeah, they showed, here's Andy's bedroom of Toy Story fame, so that'll be making its way into Kingdom Hearts 3 with Sora. Wow, Sora. Oh, okay, he looks like a toy. I was going to say, wow, he looks really different. They also, a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans. So I really do like the first Kingdom Hearts. I don't like the second one, and I don't care about Dream Drop Distance or 358 by 2 days or Birth by Sleep, whatever it's called. But I do like the first game, but I'm not crazy excited for the third one. I feel like that's one of those games where... after Final Fantasy 15 and The Last Guardian finally came out, I wonder if this will complete that trend of these games we've been waiting for forever coming out, just to equate a few very different games for no reason. But yeah, we saw some Toy Story stuff. They said the Gummy ship is coming back for lay people. The Gummy ship actually transports
sounds like a thing for lame people.
Oh, snap! No, it totally is really dumb. It transports you between the dimensions. In this case, different Disney worlds. I really never understood it. You start off on an island in the first game with a few of your friends, Riku and Kairi, and renamed people from early Final Fantasy games, which I didn't even know until recently. Not Riku and Kairi, but what's his name? Sid is in the first Kingdom Hearts. But I also played Kingdom Hearts before I really even cared about Final Fantasy, especially because I really still don't care about Final Fantasy that much, but I did like the first one. But yeah, we asked him, and he said switching over to Unreal Engine 4 was kind of change planning on the game for a little while. But he also seemed kind of a little bit defensive, maybe not defensive, but he said a lot of people have been mentioning and making it sound like, oh, Nomura's taking too much time and it hurts. There was a decision made to change to an external Unreal Engine 4. Sorry, an external engine, in this case Unreal Engine 4, so we switched over to that. Unfortunately, there was a bit of time that needed to be rewound and started over. So there's a bit of a setback there, but it was a decision that the company had to make, so it was inevitable, but he was also careful to say that it was not any problems with development and that it's going smoothly.
I mean, he came off of, being taken off of Final Fantasy versus 13 before that became 15. So I think he's right to feel a little bit downtrodden.
What else has he worked on besides that? Is that
Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 7? I mean, pretty much many Square and Squaresoft RPGs over the years. I think he as early as Chrono Trigger, he was doing maybe like background art or something like that. But that's where he first cut his teeth, and he's been involved in a lot of things ever since.
Cool.
These toys look dangerous.
There's Andy's driveway right there. So I don't know. Hopefully we're seeing more. If you want to go read that full interview, we had a few news stories out of it. But Mike Rougeau down in he's our new entertainment editor down at D23. He got to talk to Nomura, so you can go read that full one up on GameSpot.com. In other news, Doomfist, who people might have played on Overwatch PTR a couple weeks ago, is officially coming to all platforms on July 27th. He is the attack character that was kind of alluded to in a lot of the lore from the game. There's a lot of random kind of story hints on Numbani, if I'm saying that correctly. He will actually be coming to the game fully, not just on PTR, very shortly, in a few days, actually.
And he's not voiced by Terry Crews.
Yeah, which a lot of people are disappointed about, including Terry Crews.
Yeah.
And he's not in Kingdom Hearts either.
Yeah, Jean-Luc, let's get this Kingdom Hearts footage off the screen.
That could be a good
Anytime.
thing to not have Terry Crews. You know what I mean? Like
That's never a good thing.
I just feel like his voice is so recognizable, right? Like you wouldn't want. I don't know if people were like die hard on that like casting, but
I bet you Doomfist wears Old Spice.
probably.
Yeah. I did like Chris Pereira, our news editor, put a story about Doomfist up, and it was like Terry, not Doomfist Crews, and I quite liked that nickname. So at least we got that joke out of it.
Yes, here he is.
Someone hearing Doomfist in Kingdom Hearts 3 has got the chat pretty amped for the possibility of that happening. So you'll be able to play that July 27th on all 3 platforms, so go do that. Kind of in more entertainment side of things, we saw a behind-the-scenes video for Star Wars Episode 8, which comes out this December, directed by Rian Johnson, so he had some commentary in it.
Among
Daisy
a lot of
Ridley,
people did, yeah.
John Boyega, they were all talking about how this movie, they said it's good. I'm sure they wouldn't say otherwise, but they were saying it's super unexpected what he's
Shocking.
doing with Star Wars. It remains to be seen whether it will be. But they showed a few more like new aliens and kind of creatures that we haven't seen before. I don't know, Rob, you're the person who would recognize this more.
Oh, totally. So this is obviously that red planet or the
Mars.
God dang it. There's Chewie there looking probably pretty depressed near a campfire.
No, that's
for his-
Rian Johnson. Sorry.
But again, you're seeing a lot of these settings. The aliens, yeah. So that's what's really cool. Is I love seeing the practical effects of like puppeteering and all. Those giant looking things. But namely, there were a few shots of, I think they're called porgs. You'll see them coming up. They were rumored. There's a subreddit that were hinting at these things, like one being on like R2's head, but they're little cute little, almost like Furby-like guys that are supposed to be all over that planet, Actu, I think, where Rey and Luke were left off in Force Awakens. And it's just cool. Like it's cool to see, like for me at least, like rumors kind of confirmed in this trailer. But yeah, you said it. Like I almost like this more than the last trailer, just because it seems like they're really going for something different, and that's what we really want. Like Force Awakens was meant to kind of redeem the franchise. Rogue One was experimental, I want to say, but this is where I think they really need to go, like in a different direction. Because obviously, the biggest gripe of the last Force Awakens was that it was so similar to New Hope, right? As far as all the plot points.
After Looper and Brick and the couple of Breaking Bad episodes that he did, which kind of always broke the mold, it seems like Rian Johnson would try to take the opportunity to do something new. So remains to be seen whether that will happen. I know obviously when you're working with Lucasfilm, there's a lot you have to respect.
God, look at some. You're still there.
That thing was cute.
Yeah, that's
That
what I was
was
talking about.
really
Those are
cute.
called porgs. Yeah. Man, just seeing like them rehearsing saber fights, like that was 3 sabers. It looked like, or maybe the Knights of Ren attacking Rey, and then Kylo there with like two lightsabers he was battling. Like I don't know. I think we're gonna see a lot of saber action, which is exciting. I can't wait for this movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then in other movie news, Alessandro here got to see Dunkirk, so his review will be up soonish. The new Christopher Nolan World War II movie about the English escaping back over the channel with like aided by civilians, but in true Nolan fashion. I'm sure it'll kind of do something weird with the maybe timeline or something. Who knows? Or maybe it'll be more down to earth. something different for him. I'm pretty excited. I don't think I had any luck finding tickets for the weekend.
Really?
No.
Yeah,
Or
really
well, yeah. I mean, like
not great
in all
seats
fairness,
available.
I didn't look. I had Jake look for me.
Oh, okay.
And
Your assistant.
Your assistant, Jake. Yeah.
You're a boy assistant.
My friend Jake, I had him check. He what? I don't want to go on record calling him my boy assistant. He said that all the seats were kind of like shitty front row stuff. So
Cool.
I don't know. We'll see. Cool. Moving on from that, we also heard that Casey Hudson of BioWare fame is going back to BioWare. Aaron Flynn, the general manager of the Edmonton, or the studio in general, was leaving after 17 years. He most recently worked on Andromeda. I know he did a lot of work on Anthem, which we saw at E3 before he left. Yeah, it was all in good grace. He just said he wanted to make changes in his life, and so they brought Casey Hudson back, who directed the original Mass Effect trilogy. So that's pretty exciting. A lot of movement on that studio, even during Andromeda development, which, you know, you have to wonder how much that played into the final product, but that's come and gone. They refuted that whole claim that there will be no DLC for it, apparently. Forget what the original report came from. But yeah, Casey Hudson's coming back to work on Anthem. I'm pretty excited for Anthem, mainly just because I want to see BioWare get back on top in terms of like storytelling role-playing games. A lot of people are comparing it to Destiny, but BioWare was quick to reassure everyone that it would be very narrative-heavy, kind of like most of what they're known for.
Yeah, I don't know. The E3 stuff didn't do anything for me. I need to see more from that.
Pretty lukewarm.
Yeah, like it doesn't. I don't know. It looks very generic to me. I am withholding my excitement until they show me something that is worthy of getting excited about.
Yeah. Grounded Dreams, the Twitch chat was saying it was British, French, Belgian, and Canadian troops involved in Dunkirk evacuation. So my apologies to anybody from Belgium, France, or Canada.
God.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what they do. I can't imagine it would be any major shakeups. I mean, he's had experience, so it sounds like he's going to be kind of involved with a few different things between studio management and actual creative direction for Anthem and anything else that might come out. Mike Laidlaw, the Dragon Age head, has been saying they're hiring for a new Dragon Age project, which is exciting. As someone who liked Origins, didn't really like Inquisition or Dragon Age 2, I'd like to see maybe they'll take the chance to go back and do something new, but they also have... obviously Anthem and this. I like the E3 trailer.
Cool.
I'm totally with you, Callie. It doesn't really. Yeah. This alone is not enough to get me like super back on board. Totally. I think like lately BioWare has left a bad taste in my mouth with the last few things they've pushed out. But it does look cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, to be super, like cursory, it looks fun. And obviously we're playing Destiny 2, which we will get to in a little bit after playing the beta for the last couple of days. But people are comparing it to Destiny, and in terms of this like. Almost, shared multiplayer experience, but co-op and kind of loot-driven. But who knows what Anthem will be when we see more of it. A lot of people think the Iron Man mech suits look super cool, which I'm on board with. Mm-hmm. So remains to be seen what Casey Hudson will do now that he's back at the studio. But good news all around. Best wishes to Aaron Flynn, of course. I don't think he's announced what he's doing in the future now that he's leaving BioWare. Callie and Pete, actually. Undertale. PS4 Vita got a release date, August 15th, and I wanted to take the opportunity, as someone who has never played the game but has been meaning to for a long time, sell me on why I should play this game on August 15th. So, buy it, play it, get into it. I know it's semi-short, and you don't really need to sell me because I want to play it, but if people don't know what this is and they have a PS4 and no other console, why should they play this?
I wouldn't consider it short. I think if you really want to get the most out of Undertale, you have to play it. I would encourage you to play it several times. I wanted to play it several times. But yeah, Undertale is a heavily Earthbound inspired RPG that basically bends your expectations of the genre and consistently surprised me. And there was a moment like at the very beginning of the game where I don't want to spoil anything, but I did something that you would normally do in an RPG, and the game totally called me out on it, and then I was sold from there. I think it's fantastic. As you can see, it's also being released in Japanese, which would be really fun to play.
It's being handled by 8-4. Mm-hmm. Shout out to those guys. They're awesome.
A lot of they do like localization stuff?
They do like Fire Emblem. They do all sorts of stuff for Nintendo, Capcom. Yeah, You've played their games for sure. All the stuff they've worked on.
It's also really challenging, and there's a couple different runs where like I struggled a lot with some of these boss battles. So I'm wondering if maybe not doing it mouse and keyboard would help. I also played on my MacBook, so I'm very excited to play on. I'll probably get it on Vita. I think it would find a very good home on Vita, but I really want that collector's edition because it comes with a locket, and this is creepy looking. But yeah, so like I said, it's very like irreverent and self-aware and tongue-in-cheek. Lots of internet humor. So if you're not into that, you might be annoyed with some of the stuff. Annoying Dog is fantastic.
Was that like a laundry duct around that person's arm? Apologies to people listening on the podcast, but we just saw this
laundry duct.
weird announcement trailer.
Pretty sure that was Toriel's arms. She's Goat Mom, as she is fondly referred to.
What?
She's a goat.
Hold on, stop. I'm sorry. Goat Mom?
Yeah, Goat
Toriel,
Mom.
who is this?
So-
will this
She's
make
like one of the
sense?
first characters you meet.
Yeah, so basically, I guess I should
Yeah,
back up.
I can't move past that.
The story of Undertale is you're a child that falls into the realm of monsters. Monsters have been driven underground by humans, and Toriel kind of takes you in and raises you, and then you set out on your own. So very typical RPG setup, but of course it really bends your expectations of what that is.
Okay.
And there's I think there's 10 endings or something like that. There's a lot of endings, depending on what you do. I've played the 2 pure endings. So I'm really excited to play other routes in this game.
I was telling you, I've been recently side tangent playing Nier Automata, which everybody encourages you to play through. And the more I hear about it, it's less multiple playthroughs. It's more actually different sides of the same story sometimes.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe just because, we have no dearth of games to play. I always am hesitant. I think it's cool that games have multiple endings and multiple playthrough options, but it's really worth doing here, taking the time to see different endings.
I think so. Yeah, okay. I think that there's one ending that I sobbed for 30 minutes after I finished it. It was so impactful. It's a really emotional game. It's also funny and it's not too heavy. For some of the routes, I don't know. I couldn't say enough good things about it. I think it's brilliantly made. It's smart and it's self-aware. I think Toby Fox did a great job with the writing. That's the creator. And the characters are all relatable, and they start out seeming kind of almost like anime archetypes, and then you kind of peel back the layers on them. There's so many fantastic things to uncover. Even the battle system is closely intertwined with character development. It's just really, really smart.
Cool. Yeah, I remember a freelancer did a review for us, I believe, at the time. 9 out of 10? We gave it?
Yes.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. And you can go read the full review if you, like myself, have never gotten around to it, or maybe if you just have a PS4 and Vita and you want to finally dive into it. I'm excited. Do you think you'll replay it?
Yeah.
August 15th?
It's got a really good soundtrack too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the music.
Yeah, I've listened to the soundtrack extensively for a game I haven't played.
The music's phenomenal. That's something I reviewed it before I worked here. That's something that I didn't write enough about in my review. I think if I could go back and rewrite it, that's something I would add, because I think it's there's lots of motifs in the music, and if you I know very little about the creation of music, but I think it's fantastic. The one thing that people say about it is the art's janky, but I think that gives it charm.
Yeah, Apex Penguin in the YouTube chat was saying the game changes. The game itself changes throughout time. So I'm excited to check that out. Oh, he's talking about Illusion of Gaia, which also does that.
Yeah.
Game of Self. I never played that.
Illusion of Gaia that does what?
Illusion of Gaia, play that. It's worth many plays, unless he's talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think that game doesn't really.
Oh, he's still talking about Undertale. Okay, cool. There's 3 different games people do YouTube chat. Illusion of Gaia, they're talking about. They're also talking about Nier Automata, because I mentioned it. Cool.
Yeah.
Ultraman Osa in the Twitch chat said Rob is awfully quiet today. I just don't know if Undertale's your jam.
I don't know enough about that game to talk, so I won't.
Yeah. You think you might
it sounds
check
really great. Yeah, I actually will definitely check it out. That's a pretty awesome list of reasons.
Yeah, I think the one thing I would say is I think there is a specific audience that would like it more. If you're already really into RPGs, you will like it. I would highly recommend it. If you're not into RPGs, I would say there's almost that barrier to entry. You have to have played some older RPGs to really get the references.
If you're patient with it, though, I think anyone will like it.
But I think it's worth playing regardless of your gaming interests. Just even on an intellectual level of learning this is what a game can do. I think one of the coolest things, I could go on forever. I'll stop soon. The coolest thing about Undertale to me is that it's something that only a game could do. I think the story, if you read it you read a short story that was the same plot as Undertale. It wouldn't be nearly as great as it is told in the video game medium, and that's something that I don't often see with game stories. Like a game can have a phenomenal story, but I could also, watch the YouTube compilation of all the cutscenes and kind of get the gist. You cannot do that with Undertale. I think it's just a really brilliant use of the medium.
Damn, cool.
Yeah, for something that, like, as you said, that you had like a 30-minute cry fest, yet it's self-aware and like tongue-in-cheek. Like those are pretty, spread out ends of the spectrum. Like that's crazy to me.
Is it weird that the way you're talking about it kind of reminds me of how Cabin in the Woods is much better if you really like horror?
No, I don't think that's weird. I mean, like, that's how I felt about Cabin in the Woods also, because you have to have gone into that movie knowing that, going to a cabin in the woods is a horror trope.
It's hard to recognize how subversive something is if you're not super familiar with the source material, maybe. I don't know. But like Pete said, Undertale sounds good regardless.
Maybe
you'll appreciate it more.
It's still fun. Like, there's sort of like bullet hell, the boss battles, so even that is just like a...
in Undertale?
Yeah.
It's
like sort of like bullet hell.
It's
I
not
wouldn't call
quite,
it bullet hell, but it's a lot of dodging.
Yes.
And so even that is just like a dexterity challenge that can be fun even if you're not really invested in, the RPG stuff.
Cool. Yeah. This is a good excuse as any for me to finally get it off my backlog. It's been there for 2 years now? It came out 2015 fallish.
Damn.
Cool. Awesome. So yeah, August 15th, if you're on PlayStation 4, you can pick it up and play crossplay on your Vita if you've not gotten a chance to play that game yet. All right. We're for those just joining on YouTube or Twitch or GameSpot, we are going to get into Splatoon 2 and Destiny 2 beta impressions, which we all here played a little bit of Destiny at least. I didn't get the chance to play Splatoon 2, but Callie just published her full review yesterday.
Yes.
And Pete played it, Rob played it, so we could talk about that. But first, I do want to recap some Evo stuff.
Yeah.
Some drama between the 18-year-old American prodigy, people are saying, Victor Punk Woodley, and the Japanese 32-year-old veteran Tokido.
You could call it drama. I think it was just sort of tension. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People have like likened it to like a Rocky movie where it's like this sort of like roller coaster of like, oh, he's on top and oh, he's not, and like, oh, should he take his time? No, he's just gonna go for it. Basically, this 18-year-old showed up, Punk, and I think he won. Like he was undefeated up until the champions, and one of the guys that he knocked out ended up being able to go against him in the championship round, but because he came from the losers bracket, he like had to win twice as many rounds to clinch the victory in the championship.
He had to win like 2 sets or something instead of 1.
Precisely, and he did, and there was a lot of sort of like, back and forth, on Punk's end because he was sort of just like trying to push himself through it, and Tokido knew that like, okay, he just wants to win. So I know he's just going to attack me, so I'm just going to push back and essentially, use his desire to be offensive against him, more or less.
Yeah, you see Punk here playing Karen, and then Tokido with Akuma, but like you were just saying, apparently I don't know.
That move right there, totally unnecessary. That was Tokido basically being like, I'm owning you, so I'm going to do a very flashy move. And own you mentally as well at this point.
And he got into like you said, he kind of nullified Punk's aggressive, there's Punk right there, his aggressive nature by actually kind of pushing back really hard, and then apparently Punk was being defensive, even though Punk was completely undefeated. Well, he lost a few rounds here and there, but
not
sets, he never
match,
lost a match up until the finals. Like you said, he was the one that pushed Tokido into the losers bracket initially.
Right.
But yeah, apparently people are saying even if you're not super familiar with fighting games, you can kind of see that Tokido is taking control the entire time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was the main event, the Street Fighter V finals.
Yeah, but there were a lot of like really cool announcements that it probably won't matter to anyone other than people who have followed fighting games for a while. So for example, Geese Howard is going to Tekken 7, a game filled with awful daddies. And Geese Howard is one of the worst video game dads ever, and he's being brought into the fold.
What makes him bad?
He basically throws his son, like in Fatal Fury, he basically like treats his kids like shit. He uses them as fodder for his own gains.
Okay.
So then you've also got the announcement, well, it's sort of the bigger reveal of Fighting Layer EX, which is Arika is a company that's made games for and with Capcom for decades. And they are, on April Fool's last year, they showed off a fighting game that looked very similar to Street Fighter EX, and everyone thought it was fake. But then they're like, "Oh no, it's a real game. We didn't mean to confuse anybody, it's not an April Fool's joke.
April 1st? Shoot.
Right. Right.
Oops.
So we got to see more of the characters. We got to see what that game is really like. Skullomania is back, which is a big deal. He used sort of like the lasting legacy of the Street Fighter EX games because he's such a flamboyant, interesting character. And everyone just kind of assumed he was done for, like that we weren't going to see him again. Classically, Timur Hussein loves to bother any developer relevant to Skullomania about when he's coming back. And lo and behold, here we go.
He looked pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like him.
We got Darun Meister here, or Mister, I guess. My bad. He just pumped him up into the air.
Yeah, it looked like
That
that was
was
like the stance Valdo can go into in Soul Calibur
Yeah.
when you do that crab walk.
But this,
I feel like Skullmania loves all of this.
yeah,
I know he's
yeah.
enjoying
Just
it.
letting.
Pummel me, Mister.
Oh god.
Oh, stop it.
No, please stop. Did you mention the Blaz Blue thing?
I don't know much about BlazBlue.
But they did announce something with Blaz Blue.
Probably.
Yeah.
But Dragon Ball Z also made a very good showing.
Woo!
Sorry, Jean-Luc. I know Jean-Luc in the back loves BlazBlue. I don't know enough to do it
Yeah.
any
Wait,
justice.
Jean-Luc, quick over the speakers. What is the name of that game? Just so I don't alienate anybody who likes that stuff.
Blaze Blue Cross Battle.
Blaze Blue Cross Battle. Thank you.
Wait, is it Blaz Blue or Blaze Blue? Because I've always said Blaz Blue.
It's Blaze Blue, but it's fun to say Blaz Blue.
It's
Blaze
Blaze.
Blue, but it's fun to say Blaz Blue. Here we go. Thank you. Here's some B-roll. Really good looking game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same company that did that is doing Dragon Ball Z, that has done Guilty Gear
Yeah.
and all that. And someone brought up a really interesting point. All these games that Arc System Works makes, they're super complicated in ways that don't really feel necessary all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Ball Z has like a very specific set of like possibilities and like abilities from the characters, so it's actually going to be interesting to see them have to show some
boy.
restraint
Yeah.
in terms of their system design in something that is also very popular like Dragon Ball Z.
Love Trunks so much.
Ultraman Osa in the Twitch chat said, "You're not going to talk how Dragon Walker Trident rushed his way to become Injustice Evo champion. So if you want to go more in depth of that, you can go check out YouTube stuff for that. I did not get the chance to watch it, but I will check it out for sure. Especially because I've been enjoying Injustice 2 this year very much. I still kind of jump back into that for a round or two, once or twice a week.
Lastly, Street Fighter V is getting a character that no one's really thrilled about.
Who?
Abigail. This
He
guy.
big.
That's Abigail?
That's
He
Abigail.
big.
What the?
He's from Final Fight. This is not the first Final Fight character in Street Fighter. We've had Guy. We've had Cody. If they were going to bring any character from Final Fight, I really wish it had been Hagar, the mayor who kicks ass in the streets.
That's awesome.
And is a fantastic daddy as far as daddies go.
This is a very, very...
Do you mean father or do you mean daddy?
Why can't I mean both? What the fuck?
Here's a
Alright.
here's a very, very dangerous tangent. I know I'm known for these, but have you guys been tuned into there's this like
The Dream
hot
Daddy?
Dream Dad dating game?
I cannot wait for that.
Wait,
And
yeah,
people,
can you-
yes, I can walk you through Dream
Thank you,
Daddy.
because I've been seeing so many like memes.
This is it right here, right? We're looking at it.
This is Dream Daddy. No, what happened with that is people didn't know that game existed about a month ago, and they announced a release date like, oh, this dad's dating simulator. You're going to play a dad dating other dads.
It's dads dating dads. You don't just pick a dad to date.
I'm pretty sure it's dads dating
Real
dads.
deal dad dating.
I'm pretty sure it's dad dating. There we go, Dream Daddy.
That's
could
the
be
most inside joke ever. We can explain that in a bit because
We probably shouldn't explain
all right,
that.
never mind.
Anyway, what happened was they delayed it. They were like, hey, the game is supposed to come out tomorrow, but there were problems. We weren't happy with the QA. We're going to hold off on releasing it. And people were pissed.
But it was also a matter of them saying, we are killing ourselves trying to finish this game last minute. We don't feel good. The game is going to suffer as a result in the final stretch. It's better for us and for the game and ultimately for you, the player, if we just take like another week or whatever.
Right. And they basically said like, crunch is really hurting us. Everyone's tired. Yeah. There are still bugs to work out. We will work them out for you. We want to release a game that we are proud of, that you will enjoy. And like, I feel like it's a bunch of Tumblr girls being like, but I wanted my daddy simulator now. And so people are pissed. And they didn't even know this game existed.
Yeah.
But like 30 days ago. So that's pretty ridiculous. I am very excited to play it because I imagine it'll be inexperience.
Yeah, Errol Moss is a regular from in our chats. He's in the Twitch chat right now. He's saying, yeah, it's by Vernon Shaw and the other members of Game Grumps, and he's agreeing the outrage was ridiculous for the same reasons you're saying.
Does Errol also know if it's dads dating dads or if you dating dads? If you're not a dad?
Yeah, he hasn't said yet, but hopefully he answers.
I could have sworn it was you're a dad and you're looking for daddies.
seeing
Are you a
screenshots.
fallen dad who's like come out of a divorce who is now looking to just a new lease on life?
Like, I
It's all
realized I was
screenshots.
gay and now it's time for...
It's these like
This dad needs to get out.
pretty jacked middle-aged men with like sleeve tattoos, but they're also holding like their daughter's hand.
Yeah.
That's the screenshots I've seen.
That's really that's life.
dad life.
That's the dad life.
Jean-Luc in the Twitch chat just posted, Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator, parentheses, capital DDA, DDS, is a game where you play as a dad and your goal is to meet and romance other attractive dads. You were right.
Nailed it. I know my daddy simulator. Never mind.
What kind of, there'll probably be a lot of like fan fiction coming out of this.
Oh,
This
yeah.
game seems like it is fan fiction.
Well, it sort of reminds me of Huddleful Boyfriend, and that it's like a dating simulator that's just really self-aware. Like, it's not like a normal dating simulator where you're like, should I go for the jock or should I go for the the nerd who works in the library? It's more like, all right, am I going for the guy with the anchor tattoo who loves his baby daughter, or am I going for the posh dad who's actually an asshole? Like that's what I imagine it's going to be like. So I'm very, very excited.
There's going to be memes saying like, Mr. Jenkins is best boy.
Oh, I will have a best.
Smiling.
I will best have.
So ridiculous.
You know I will have a best daddy because I have a best pigeon in Huddleful Boyfriend.
What's this pigeon's name?
Angel.
What's it like?
He's
cool.
the cool guy.
Oh my
see what I
god,
just did?
that was brilliant, dude.
That's what the game does, though.
Oh, I thought you made that up.
No, I did, but that's how Hatful Boyfriend
mean,
works.
that's
It's all bird puns. And
Bird
shit.
puns, yeah. Anyway,
Sounds like bird fun.
Shit.
definitely we'll be checking that out.
Me too.
Not worth the.
I'm checking that game out for sure.
not
Is this on mobile?
just take out my phone. Not worth the anger for sure.
I thought you said anchor, like the tattoo again.
No, not the tattoo and the anger.
It's just
over the
people being
daddy.
pissed.
It sounds like
over-
you're right.
It's
It's
I mean-
totally like a
being
14-year-old or teenager
it's those
girl
teens-
is freaking out.
Those teens on Tumblr, they get mad about a lot. I mean, being a teenager is hard, and I got mad about a lot when I was a teenager. So it's like, I get it, but like maybe cool it.
It's gonna affect their exams.
Like, eat a piece of bread and maybe you'll calm down. Like,
Eat some carbs and take a nap.
yeah.
What was that?
That was like my girl impression.
That was your girl impression?
Speaking
what
of
we
internet
sound like.
outrage,
Luke back there.
You heard it.
Sorry, is that too loud?
You heard it here first.
speaking of another fire, I definitely don't need to add fuel to, but I'll do it anyway. Have you seen this like outrage over game engines that started a day or two ago? Someone on like some I think NeoGaf had posted something about someone saying there's a comment on Steam in a comment saying, "Oh, as soon as I see Unity engine in the game description, I just don't buy it." And then this sparked like a huge
See,
feud.
I was way too busy, paying attention to the daddy drama, so I didn't really hear.
It's probably
about
a
this.
good bet. Wait out this dumb engine fight while
Well,
hot dads are strolling about. Cool. So Evo was last weekend. A lot of stuff there. You can go catch up. I believe we have some recap stuff up on GameSpot-ish for if you're fighting game fans. Richard Lee just got back from Vegas. He's now in our back room. He's behind the camera doing a lot of production stuff every single week, but now he's back in business. Cool. So moving on. Splatoon 2, 8 out of 10 on GameSpot.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few broader questions. I do have some things I want to get into, but first, Callie Plagg, you gave it an 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody here, except for me, has played it in some capacity. But what's the deal with this game? Why'd you give it an 8 out of 10?
Well, so I don't know. Did you play the first one at all?
No.
At all? Yeah. So the first Splatoon I played, of course, like playing on a Wii U was so cumbersome because I had to that was the only game I really played after a while. So number one, like having it on Switch, I've been saying this about pretty much every Switch game, but like I really do think that good hardware makes a difference, and that does help my enjoyment. But the main thing is like this game makes a lot of small tweaks to the Splatoon formula that go a long way. So single player is improved. That's probably one of like the biggest changes is you can now use like every weapon, not every weapon, but in the first game, like you only had access to one one weapon in single player, and it was kind of like, okay, well, what's the point? This doesn't really introduce me to any of the types of weapons I can use. Versus in the single player, they make really good use of the full catalog of weapons. It's smart, fun platforming challenges. We talked last time when we talked about Splatoon about like rail grinding is really cool. One of the things that disappointed me is some of those cool like platforming and movement challenges present in the single player, they just don't make it into multiplayer.
Oh damn!
Boggles my mind.
I hold out hope that because Nintendo has said that they will be releasing like free updates for Splatoon, which they did for the first game as well. I'm holding out hope that maybe they'll add something that makes good use of some of the coolest parts of single player. But even without that, the multiplayer is still super fun. I think Turf War is a really unique, really just interesting and kind of quirky take on a shooter mode. And you're just basically inking the ground and then taking it. So you can't.
You win based on which team covered more of the map.
Right.
Yeah, like you don't win based on kills. I mean, you are splatting opponents, but you're trying to ink turf, and I think that's really cool.
It allows you to be successful on a constant basis. Everything you're doing is contributing, is a benefit to your team. Like you don't have to kill someone for that to be a thing, and like it happens every 5 minutes, and you're like, finally, I contributed. It's like every single little thing you do makes a difference.
Yeah, and that's one of the best parts is, Turf War battles are 3 minutes long. They're really quick. You get in and out of battle really quick. You're not spending a lot of time waiting in lobbies, although during the review we were because there were so few people playing. But it's quick in and out, and even a defeat, you don't feel totally like I never wanted to rage quit because I kept losing, because you are getting rewards, you are contributing, and pretty much a lot of the time, like if you're playing with a bunch of randoms who don't really know what they're doing, that was frustrating.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, why are you inking over the same things I already inked? Go a different way, please. But for the most part, like it's consistently rewarding. You go out with the money you earn. Even if you lose, you get some reward experience and cash, and you can go buy new gear. And so that constant like feedback loop is something that I think works really well. It doesn't feel repetitive because every match is different. There's just a lot to like about it. It's a very simple concept, but I think with everything combined, do I prefer going for being aggro? Do I prefer getting into combat, or do I prefer inking? Like there's always something to do, and you can kind of shift your strategy based on your team. So I think there's a lot to like. I will say that multiplayer still has some logistical hiccups for me. You can't change your loadout in Turf War, which is like it sounds like such a small complaint, but that frustrates me to no end, because if you are all chargers, which is like the sniper in Splatoon,
you're done.
You're gonna lose. Like that's not a good weapon for inking. You're gonna get meleeed to death, and it's gonna suck. You have no way to see what your team is carrying.
You pick one at the beginning, and you're stuck with it.
You pick one before entering a lobby, so you can equip before you enter. And this was frustrating, especially during the review, because the only people playing right now are reviewers and treehouse people.
And you have your team, and you want to change your weapon, and you're going to lose all those people who are on your team.
And if I want to change my weapon, like my chances of getting into a game when there's so few people playing, that was really low. But also, I mean, that's going to be mitigated once people are playing the game. But that was frustrating, and it's also just like if you're stuck with bad team comp, you're done. Like it's.
There doesn't seem to be a reason for it.
Yeah, and there's no reason you can't.
Just like an oversight.
You could in the Splatfest, so that's another thing where I hope that's an update that they roll out. Yeah. I mean, like I don't know. It's just like weird Nintendo decisions where it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you making multiplayer harder than it has to be? Why do I have to use an app that can only be?
Let's talk about that. No voice chat.
There's that was. People were tweeting at me like, I don't see why that's a problem. I think no voice chat is a positive. And it's like, because it's 2017.
Problem.
This is
here we
So
you're
voice
watching
chat
right now.
in the app is only available if the app is open and your phone is unlocked, which is ridiculous to me because
you have to change your phone settings if you want to
get
play this.
out of here.
No, that's gonna drain the heck out of your battery.
Right.
You can't, like, if you want to switch over to text somebody like come join our game. Nope, you can't do that. You'll lose your chat. If you want to look up a walkthrough, you can't do that either.
If someone calls you.
Or if your mom is like, "Are you alive?" You're like, "Yes." Thanks.
There's no way to justify or make this like seem like it's reasonable on Nintendo's part.
I know.
It's very bad. It's inelegant. They screwed up.
Yeah.
There's no you can't make any apologies for it. Like you can't even say, "Oh, but there's a solution." It doesn't matter.
It's the most ridiculous, cumbersome workaround that I could have imagined, because like you also can't get game audio through the app, so you have to get a special dongle that connects to both your controller and your phone, so you can get both, which is like, why would I do that?
What's the other workaround? Just high volume on your TV and then the headphones.
And then your friends get the feedback, or what? So it's just, that's frustrating.
Couple that with the fact that like now the new iPhone doesn't have a headphone jack.
I know.
So I can't charge and use the headphone jack at the same
my
time. You know what I
God,
mean?
yeah,
Like it'll
it's
drain
true.
like
I didn't
that.
think
You'll
of
be
that.
done. And some arguments in favor of not having like readily available voice chat were like, oh, Nintendo wants everyone to have the same experience. But this is a multiplayer team focused game, and if I can't organize team comp, especially in ranked, so this is ridiculous, this weird dongle.
If you need an infographic to show us
How to do something that every game just allows you to do with.
Yeah.
And it
just
also,
standard
And
shit.
like the other thing is the Switch has parental controls. So if you're a parent and you don't want your kid to, like hear, the F word,
God.
you can just do that you don't have to make it so like voice chat isn't available for everyone just because a kid might hear some stuff they shouldn't hear. Like the parental controls are already there.
And you know what? Your kids are probably playing Call of Duty at their friend's house.
I know.
And hearing this shit anyway.
kids are probably
know.
watching porn at their friend's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, kids are doing-
Wait, what?
Nah, wait, how old are we talking? No, anyway, Damn Dingo in the Twitch chat had mentioned, he was asking, is the chat any good? Doesn't sound like it.
I will say I downloaded the app, and the actual like Splatoon info is pretty cool. Like I was able to see like all my stats and like my last 50 games and like which ones I won and with which weapons.
More of a
So, like,
companion app.
yeah, so that part was cool, but the voice chat part I'm like not down with. But it does remind me of the Destiny app in that I just kind of want to look at it when I'm not playing. Like, ooh, look at, it's so colorful and cute,
Yeah.
and look at my gear. There's a use for it, I guess. You can also see which maps are in rotation, which is nice if you like really hate a map. You're like, I'm thinking about playing right now, and you're like, I really don't want to play on. Not that I don't think there's any maps like that in this game, but I don't know, your preference.
I do know, and you would know, Callie, like as far as the, I guess you would call it like quick chat on the left side of the controller, right? You can be like, follow me.
Like a
Yeah,
Rocket
there's-
League-ish thing.
Yeah, but the thing was, I feel like there's only two.
There's Booyah, there's Ouch.
Booyah, which is very useful.
Booyah.
Those are more emotes than like communication.
Yeah,
right?
well, there is like a this way.
Right.
This way,
There's
yeah.
a couple
But-
of those, yeah.
Even that, it's like, I don't even know which way you are
Yeah,
referring
what are
to.
you? I'm not looking at
What?
like what you're doing, and so to the point of like you look at Rocket League, which has a phenomenal quick chat system. I think so.
No, it does. I was thinking about what I do with.
Oh, what we do with it, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so
But what I'm trying. Oh Jesus God! But what I'm trying to say is that for something like Turf War, right, where like one of the problems is when I was playing, I feel like we would be up against 4 people who like were amazing
Who
at the first
knew
game.
what the heck they knew,
and they
yeah.
were talking, communicating. The problem I was thinking was like when I had that team and you're in Turf War and you're trying to cover your side of the map, and then one of their guys comes around and starts like wrecking your side that you already
Oh my
painted.
god,
Yeah.
yeah.
The only 2 commands I feel like that would be useful are like I'm attacking or like I'm defending or some form of that. Where like, hey, I'm just gonna roll back, literally with the roller and just manage our side.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's it. There's your role. Cool. That guy's doing that. Like I don't know. Like the tactics
I mean,
just seems so frustrating when like as someone who's playing, it took me a while to understand how to like get into it or like what I should be doing.
yeah, what your role is. I mean, like I was playing around here we had 4 codes, so we would play in the same room, and I would just shout out things like it sounded like we were playing a MOBA. I was like, I'm going mid or whatever it is,
Sure,
because some of the
yeah.
maps are like
Lane-based.
lane based, not like in the way that Call of Duty has moved to lane based, but like you can kind of go in different
Like just stretches.
yeah, stretches or like a vertical, you can go on a different level than somebody else, and kind of double your effectiveness. So I think like Discord is a much better solution than
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
in
you're damn
Spl-
right.
the frustrating thing though is in Splatoon, at least with Turf War, if you join your friend's lobby, you aren't guaranteed to be on the same team. So I would do this. It's the same as Splatoon 1. Like I'd be in a Skype chat with people, and then like 3 of them would be on the other team, and they'd be like, "Callie, mute us because
You still can't like squad up.
You can in league battles. So this is they did try to fix it for some modes, and I do appreciate that there's like a casual mode that's like jump in, jump out. That's not a lot of pressure. It's about like having fun, and you still want to win, but you get rewards for losing, so that's fine. There's ranked battle, which is returning. It has 3 modes. One's like a capture the flag, like reverse capture the flag. One's like almost like Overwatch, like you're escorting a tower to a point. And
what is reverse capture the flag exactly?
have you played like it's like Assault in Halo where like you bring a bomb to, so rather than like rescuing a flag from their base, you are bringing one thing, but it's like
plant the bomb.
Yeah.
I was on the exact same wavelength as you with that. I've been watching Halo stuff. That was weird.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That was cool. We're on the same wavelength. And then there's one that's you're controlling zones, kind of like Call of Duty's domination. So you're controlling by inking a certain area, and then you're trying to get all 3 or however many there are, and you have to hold them for a certain amount of time, and then the game's over and you guys win. In order to unlock League Battle, you have to be rank B- or above in Ranked Battle in any mode. To get to Ranked Battle, you have to be level 10 in Turf War multiplayer. Like you have to play Turf War first, then you reach level 10, you unlock Ranked, then you get B-, and you unlock League. League is the new one where you can party up with 1 or 3 other friends, so it's in groups of 2 or 4, and that one you are on their team and you can be in chat. But it's too complicated.
I don't want to be hyperbolic, but that sounds like a nightmare to figure out.
It's too complicated. I mean, like I'm an adult and I can figure it out, but like
it seems way too.
12-year-old me would be like, screw this. Like,
is that meant to basically mix up those early like matches where you have those like heavy experienced players on one team just like wrecking shop? If it's like a mix, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Like, is that like the reason for that?
I'm sure there is a Nintendo style justification for it. I wish that I could play Turf War with in League Battle, but League Battle using ranked battle modes. So like Turf War is always casual. You can't be like, I'm super good at Turf War and I want to party up with my friends. And there's just, I feel like we're being super negative. I did give it an 8. I think it's really fun. It's the kind of game as a shooter fan that like kid me would have gone crazy for, and that current me is also super obsessed with, and I can't wait to play when more people are online. And because right now can't get a match because all the reviewers did their reviews and now they're not playing because it's like there's like 6 of us. But it's just I hope that they patch some of these multiplayer things out or figure it out. I don't know if Nintendo will because they're notoriously bad with online. It's just frustrating when it's like, okay, this is a team-based online focused multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Why is this so difficult for you?
Yeah, to clarify, we're not like against using Discord or Skype chat, which are both viable options. It just seems weird that they wouldn't include it in the game. Because even like if I just had a Switch and I was like stuck to Nintendo stuff, I don't think I'd be too familiar with Discord if I wasn't like a PC gamer. But of course, you can download Skype easily, and we're not. And I'm completely advocating doing that if it's going to help you play this game. But
you could just do a group phone call on your iPhone.
Yeah.
Like whatever. There's so many ways to get around it. The point being,
shouldn't have to figure that out.
The point being is that this problem was solved probably at least a decade ago on consoles, and here it is Nintendo with their fancy schmancy. Look at our cool system. It's so different and unique, but it's missing this really basic thing that you guys are all used to.
That is
classic
almost,
Nintendo.
That is almost essential to like a higher level performance in this type of game.
Right.
Like if I go in with, like I said, team comp is a really big problem. That's probably the biggest problem aside from voice chat. I know not everybody cares about voice chat. The team comp thing is a glaring issue where you cannot see what people are carrying into battle. You could end up with everybody has the same weapon and y'all are screwed.
There's one thing I really liked playing. The weapons were like way more in depth than like I ever imagined. We're like in the single player, I was like, oh, this charged kind of sniper rifle was like my go-to. I mean, my first like few hours single player, like this is great. I'm like creating my own lanes, et cetera, et cetera. And then into the multiplayer, like I was like, this gun sucks against people. Like I cannot shoot anyone with
like a high skill ceiling gun.
It's a pretty long charge, and obviously like it's really precise as far as aiming. However, what was really interesting was so I avoided that, and I saw one of the enemy guys like about 5 matches later. He's just in the middle of the map, and he's standing there and he's just creating lanes for his team, but he's like not moving. So you just kind of like, you see, what I'm trying to say is like all these weapons, like I see someone using it or applying it in a different way. I'm like, oh damn, like that's how you use that gun. Like you're just a team player. And it was like really cool to just, I mean, again, like, you know, each weapon has like so many different applications.
Yeah. Like I said, I feel like we sound very negative. I do say a lot of positive things in my review. That's one of them is like they made these really small tweaks to weapons that like I'm still figuring out the best way to use it. Like the charger you can, which is actually pretty popular in multiplayer, if I remember correctly. It is a difficult weapon to use, but like the fact that, you know, somebody can be really useful creating lanes because, you know, going through the ink is how you reload. So somebody who's like who needs to go to the front lines or whatever, or who's on offense, like needs the charger to set that up for them. Like that's really smart. Or it works really well on certain maps, like Moray Towers is like there's a lot of verticality on that map. Having a sniper is really good. They also made it so you can hold the charge in ink, which makes you more sneaky. And they just made a lot of small changes.
Yeah,
there's also
that's like a big new thing. Right?
Yeah, it's huge.
And as a returning Splatoon player, when you see that stuff, it feels like this isn't just
it's not just a reskin,
right? It's been redeveloped in some ways.
Yeah, they like really reevaluated weapon. It seems like balance and you know how you use each weapon to ink versus do damage. That's, you know, there's like new weapons like the dualies, which is the first weapon to add a unique movement, so you can do a dodge roll, which is cool because you're more mobile while not in ink, which is the biggest.
Or even in your enemy's ink.
Yeah, which is the biggest mobility
your enemy's
challenge.
ink, otherwise you're
screwed.
Slow as molasses. You're
screwed.
Yeah.
They also added new abilities to gear, which is really cool because, you know, as a returning player, I'm like, I'm going to figure out a new combination that works for my new play style with this weapon that's been changed. And so there's a lot to dig into if you're returning, but it's not, you know, a total overhaul. And it's still the fun, like already good game that it was if you didn't play on Wii U. I would highly recommend it. There's just some frustrations.
That's my thing. It's good because speaking personally, and I'm sure I'm not alone in this, I wasn't super into the Wii U. I don't think it was like a failure like a lot of people say, but obviously the Switch is doing much, much better sales-wise and just reception-wise. I think I can jump into Splatoon with the second one, right? I don't have to go back to the first one. It sounds very much like I could just...
Definitely.
Cool.
You do not. I mean, it takes place, I think, 2 years after the first game, but I mean, like the lore in Splatoon is very like hidden under the surface. Wink, wink.
Like Overwatch, Destiny, if you want to get into
and like
those.
so, if you want to dig into it, that's cool. You're not going to go in being like, "What's happening?" It's, you know, it does a really good job of, you know, getting you right into it.
Cool. So Splatoon 2, 8 out of 10 on GameSpot, reviewed by Kelly Plagge. You can go check that out if you want to read more in depth or watch the video on YouTube or GameSpot. Cool. All right. Last segment. Get into Destiny 2 beta, the closed beta. We here at GameSpot have been playing it. Kelly, you got the chance once you finished up Splatoon to jump into it. Did you get the chance to play? You're reviewing a few other things.
I had to pick up a surprise review, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to play this.
But we got the chance to play yesterday. Included is the first mission, story mission, much of which we saw at E3. Then we also got to play a strike. And Rob, I saw you playing a bit of competitive PvP kind of Crucible stuff.
Yeah,
but
Tay and I did a stream. There was actually a bunch of areas in this first mission that were kind of a surprise. You know, Eric, very much our resident Destiny expert, was. I got to stream with him, and he was going like, "Oh, this is new. Like new enemies here."
Yeah,
so
I will say,
exciting.
if you want a much, much deeper dive into a lot of the statistics, and if you're one kind of player who plays Destiny to min-max and everything, go watch that stream. Eric has a lot of good insight for that. For the purpose of the show, we want to kind of give early impressions, how the game is functioning as a sequel. But yeah, we did get the chance. So just to set the stage, for those of you who didn't get the chance to play it yet, you jump in, they give you a chance at a character class. They give you like 3 kinetic weapons to choose from, so we can get into how the weapons are divided now as opposed to the first game if you don't already know. But yeah, you get in, you do the first story mission, you pick Hunter, Warlock, or Titan, and there are the new subclasses that we can talk about. But yeah, none of this is obviously going to carry over. You get an exotic like 5 minutes into the story mission, but this won't carry over until the game, or into the game's final September release. But yes, sorry Rob, let's talk about the story mission while we're watching B-roll. We saw a lot of this at E3. It's this faction of the Cabal who you first encounter on Mars in the first game is attacking the last city.
Led by Gaul, and they're called the Red Legion. They've attacked the Traveler as well.
Super. It's kind of like Halo 2 has that Splinter Cell of the elites, or the Covenant of the Heretic, if you want to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're sort of like a separate.
The Lambent in Gears of War.
Yeah.
This third faction breakaway kind of rogue thing. But they're attacking you're defending the last city, the tower, the Guardian's Sanctuary. And here you have the Arc Strider, one of the new subclasses for the Hunter, which I played.
Love Arc Strider.
Bow Staff. You also have this new the Hunters have a new dodge that can reload your weapon, a la McCree from Overwatch, if you're familiar.
It's really cool. I was a Hunter main in the first Destiny, so
as you should be.
Tay would definitely argue with me on that, but yeah, I hear him. He just said boo.
Tay loves Warlocks.
He loves Warlock. I mean, Warlocks are...
No, just kidding. Tay's a Titan main. I'm just messing with him because he's not here to defend himself.
I don't like Titans. Anyway, I do like that change. I think it's something that's going to be really cool to get used to, is that like dodge reload timing that I'm excited to kind of get more acquainted with.
Yeah.
But I love Arc Strider. I like it way more than Golden Gun for sure.
And then there's also the Titan Sentinel, which is like Captain America or Athena. If you played Borderlands pre-sequel, throws a shield, kind of a few passives based on that.
It is chain enemies and like ricochet off walls. It's pretty sick.
It's worth talking about how the subclasses are kind of structured now. So there are 4 passives. You can go down like 2 branches in each subclass for passives. They group the 4 together, as opposed to the first game where you can kind of just mix and match everything. Mark Noseworthy if you didn't get to play the closed beta, Mark Noseworthy went more in depth on Twitter. He's a producer for the game yesterday, I believe, and he was describing how like it's a little more, like the 4 passives are meant to be stuck together. And like as a subclass, so the subclasses are a little more defined now, rather than you being able to swap as much.
Yeah, but I interviewed him during E3, and he talked a lot about the weapons classes. If you're curious about that, I think that you get a little more flexibility. So it's kind of you trade one for the other.
Do you want to explain that? So as opposed to primary, secondary power.
That's what it.
Now
that's what it was.
That's what it was. Primary, secondary, heavy. Now it is
kinetic,
energy, kinetic, and power.
Yeah, so kinetic, like assault rifles, submachine guns, scout rifles.
Well, any type of, not any type of weapon, but weapons that could be primaries or secondaries secondaries are included in energy and kinetic.
It's literally
so
the first slot
broken
is
down differently.
Anything with conventional bullets.
Yeah.
And then energy is more like
elemental.
What fusion rifles used to be. Yeah, elemental.
With like
stuff,
solar
exactly.
and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then power is like the sniper rifle, grenade launcher.
Yeah.
So they've moved things around, and he describes that more in detail in the interview, which you can see on GameSpot now, if you're curious. But I do like that because like I was using this hand cannon because you get that. It's an exotic that you kind of get as part of this demo.
It's pretty awesome.
Beta. But I never used hand cannons, but because of the new organization, I picked it up, and I actually really liked using it.
Yeah.
So it introduced me to more weapon types that I kind of would have ignored because I was always a scout rifle person. And
so now you can have a kinetic scout rifle and then an energy hand cannon.
Yeah. So you get to use a wider variety of weapons, which is really, really cool. I like that a lot.
Or 2 hand cannons.
Yeah, kinetic one and an energy one, sure.
You probably, I don't know if you'd want to equip that, but you could do that, which is super cool. And, if you're really big into hand cannons, or, if you're trying to get, I don't know how Grim War will work, but you unlock Grim War by getting certain amounts of kills and with certain weapons. So who knows if that's going to be a thing, but that would be a reason to do it, I guess.
It was fun to have that different weapon type, right? Like when you see a guy with a shield or some kind of like element base, just to like switch to that weapon to remove it and then switch back. Like I enjoy that kind of system.
Yeah, it was nicer to be able to I'm going to switch to my energy to take down his shields, and then I'm going to switch back to my kinetic. Whereas that would have been, going into the menu in the first Destiny. So that made combat a little smoother for me. I do want to say that while we're still looking at the footage for the single player mission, that I really was intrigued by the direction the story is taking. And I won't spoil anything if you haven't played it, I guess. But I was like, okay, Destiny, I'm listening. I feel like you're more committed to story this time around. I feel like there's more of a narrative here. So,
what was Luke Smith, the head of Destiny 2, was saying that. I mean, it was more of a kind of tongue-in-cheek thing. He was saying he hopes people get annoyed with how much story they have now, because that was a big complaint. I think before Destiny 1 came out, everybody saw this really like stylized, really almost noir-looking sci-fi world, and we were hoping there would be a lot of story supporting it. But of course, it's all pushed to the periphery for people. It's more based around the mechanics and the systems of this shared multiplayer shooter. But now, like you said, there are definitely hints in this first story mission of much more characterization. You see Zavala here, you're fighting with him, and Ikora, you see her up ahead, and of course, Cade 6 plays into it. But but like you said, they actually set up a cool story thread at the beginning, which is I didn't think I would say.
Yeah, and like if like I was really big into the Grimoire when I first started playing Destiny, and so it's just kind of cool to like not have to hunt for those things. They're there for you already. Even though like being in the tower area and seeing it all decimated is really cool as a returning player. It's just nice to know that they're actually going to put energy into that, because the systems are so good. I really, really love the systems in Destiny. I love the shooting so much. I've said that lots of times, but I feel like it's more balanced now.
Yeah, we do have some Twitter questions about this game. There's a bunch of them that came in on Twitter yesterday, but I do like that it was almost them, Bungie, saying, hey, we're destroying the social space from the first game. We're moving on. It was kind of a good way to start the game, I guess. Good message.
Yeah, symbolic.
Yeah, and we did get to play the Strike as well, which was the Inverted Spire. I have mixed feelings about the Strike.
I haven't had a chance to play the Strike yet.
You did, right?
I did.
Yeah.
What don't you?
I didn't like the boss fight as much, but I do like leading up to that. So like you drop in with two other players. I played with Nick and Jake yesterday. Here's Tay and Rob playing right now. Tay's using the Sentinel Titan class with the shield, as I mentioned before. Oh, I thought you were telling me that wasn't the subclass.
No, I just think it's lame.
I was like, what did I say wrong?
I'm shaking my head.
Yeah, Kelly was just shaking her head like, wait, what did I say wrong?
Sorry, no, you're fine.
Oh, no. It was in my peripheral vision. But I like the Strike leading up to it. It was cool. There's like this massive, you can go watch the whole thing, and I won't spoil anything like too much, but there's some platforming which I could have done without, but it wasn't like obtrusive. It was just a normal Destiny platforming, which I always have problems with. But then there's some cool parts that actually incorporated the map design, in like you have to like avoid environmental things that were actually kind of making you think on your toes.
Oh, cool.
The thing I would say about platforming, I mean, I haven't played nearly as much Destiny 1 as I should, but like what kind of threw me off was just like, you're playing as a character that has each class has like 3 different ways of managing your jump system, right? Like I found it difficult to like platform in that respect, right? It wasn't familiar with the jump mechanics,
like
where it's
changes.
Like, right, like like the Titan has one where it's like you can lift, but you have to disengage, right? So when I played with 2 randoms, they probably hated my guts because I kept like
you were holding the hover button.
Correct.
So yeah, no, so I mean if
that's what you were talking about.
To go from no, from my point of view, as someone who played a lot, I think this game still feels phenomenal. Better, honestly. This game feels better than any shooter I've ever played still, it remains here in Destiny 2. If you can go more in depth on the mechanics of this game all you want, because they're so refined, and you kind of have to, and it's a game that's repetitive and people are min-maxing and whatnot. You have to make it feel good, and it still feels very good. I just don't like when they force platforming into things, which I forget which raid it was. I think it was the Taken King raid, when there was actually really heavy platforming in one part, like between 2 checkpoints is actually one part. So it's not that bad. I usually dislike when shooters force platforming in, but it feels really good to clarify.
I mean, like I'm not crazy about the platforming either. There's also a section in the story, like the story mission, that you have to do this like weird platforming thing with this like generator that I wasn't crazy about.
Yeah, that was kind of tricky. To
it's
be
just
honest.
like, I don't know, especially as a hunter, because you're pretty floaty. I mean, warlocks are the floatiest, but I don't know. I had a pretty floaty jump, and I was like, this is irritating. But it was very short, and it didn't like ruin it, right? It's still, like you said, it still feels great.
There was an area in the Strike that I kind of liked that had like a mix of platforming and, like you're dealing with snipers. Like I didn't necessarily mind the Strike. I did kind of find that that story one that you were mentioning definitely frustrating.
I died a lot.
I died a lot too on that, yeah. But whatever.
Yeah. You fight a boss later on, and there's a little more platforming, kind of vanilla platforming, but it still feels like a Destiny boss. You're shooting at it for a while. There are ads to replenish your super and to get ammo, and it was fun. It makes you move around. I just had a few problems with the actual kind of map design that I was put on, but that was just like, I guess,
to what
getting really
extent? Like,
I don't want to spoil it too much if you don't want to, if they're not going to show the boss fight. I just don't think it was the best use of an actual boss arena. In some of my favorite strikes, they actually make really good use of it. What was his name? Maybe Tay can shout it over. It was the Vex boss from Destiny, that you're in a circle and there's shield walls pushing you, and then you actually eventually he goes to the middle.
Oh yeah,
and
what's his
I'm
name?
kind of waiting for Tay or Jean-Luc. But I just don't think the strike boss right here, you can see, it was just seemed very, there were some cool parts right here. You see the floor lights up and you actually have to avoid the damage from that. I just wasn't really thinking about much besides shooting him. And it just wasn't the most intricate design boss. And it's kind of maybe too much criticism to level at a boss in a beta. But it bodes well. It felt like a well-designed strike. Just wasn't my favorite boss, I guess. But I'm looking forward to seeing more from that. Rob, you played some competitive PvP yesterday.
Yeah, we played on the stream. Played some more after. I went back and Tay, as someone again who's fairly new to Destiny, I would say, what class is right for you, so to speak. And Tay was saying, like Titan, because he's a big Titan advocate. But yeah, I did another run on with Hunter, and I loved Hunter as far as the mobility factor. I feel like I cherish that far more, just being able to move it, that juke roll you can do. I saw people doing that when I was playing as Titan in PvP, and I was like, I need that. I need to be able to get out of dodge and just juke someone. And so, but I did have a good time. With the PvP as far as enjoyability factor. I don't know. I was definitely not doing well when I was within the first few matches, but because it's very different. I'm one to love Halo, and I kept thinking I was playing Halo. You know what I mean? But it's really not. There's a lot of verticality. As far as the jump system in general, I was getting worked by people who were just above me. Which I found very different.
Whatever Bungie did to just refine their movement. I mean, I played Halo 5 recently for the first time in a while, and it's amazing how much better Destiny feels in Halo 5. I mean, it's an unfair comparison. It's not the same. They're in the same vein of shooter. Yeah, I mean, it's just, honestly, that's, like I said, you have to make this game feel good for the amount of time people are going to spend in it, and it does, to the 10th degree. It feels amazing still. And now you have, as a Hunter main as well, you have the dodge, you have I just put the triple jump on immediately because they start you at level 20 with 200 light, I think.
Yeah.
The triple jump feels phenomenal. You put the strafe jump on if you want a little more control. You can put, it feels great still.
Yeah,
no worries there at all. And this, I think, overall impressions, this beta actually has me more excited to play Destiny 2 than I initially was.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say the strafe jump's probably good for PvP too, getting for as far as movement goes.
Changing direction midair.
Yeah.
I do have a couple questions I want to get to before we dive back in or just end the show. Adnan Ahmed on Twitter said, as a person who never played Destiny, why should I care? Why not just wait for Anthem, which looks like it will combine Destiny with narrative? We touched on Anthem earlier, talking about Casey Hudson going back to BioWare. I can't speak too much to what Anthem will be because we still don't know a ton.
You got time.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, it kind of made me want to play Destiny 2 more, someone who played a lot of Destiny. But if I hadn't played Destiny, I think you don't really need to play the first one. You could just jump in with 2. Kind of like Splatoon 2 we were just talking about. It seems like it's made to just introduce a lot of new people.
Yeah, I mean, I think your incentive is, if you like shooters, this is a mechanically really impressive shooter. It's feels great to play.
Yeah.
As someone who's played tons of shooters, I have lots of problems with Destiny, but I just keep going back to it because it feels great.
Yeah.
And it's funny to think when I was playing yesterday, it's just such a awesome mix of sound design and everything from the rumble in the controller of every weapon and how it feels. It's one of those things where I don't know if that's a gripe against Destiny, but how many times you're kind of doing the same thing, right? You're just bullet sponging a boss. However, I kept thinking man, I feel like I could listen to this gun for another 3 hours because it just sounds so good, and each weapon is very unique as far as feel and again look, and it's really fun.
Yeah, and I like how spongy the enemies are. I'm just I don't know, there's so much to like about even just shooting a wave of enemies. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like it's something you have to try almost.
Yeah.
Get into this flow state playing that game that's just like hard to find elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Odd and Ahmed, I think this is a good time to jump in if you're interested in the first one and didn't like kind of really get too far into it. Destiny 2 seems like, they, like we said, it seems like they're addressing story concerns from the first game, and Taken King did that as well. They really characterized Cayde 6, Ikora, and Zavala, the Guardian leaders, the Vanguard leaders. But here, like we said, we don't spoil anything, but if you play the story mission, you can see them setting up some really cool threads that has more characterization than anything in the first Destiny. So yeah, Adnan, thank you so much for your Twitter contribution. We have another one from Julian Davis. Can you see yourself spending as much time as you did in D1 with D2? The Destiny formula is kind of punishing and makes me ask, why bother?
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like for me personally, who played a lot of Destiny, not as much as like Tay or anyone, but I like kind of games that, I do like games with repetitive structure. I like Diablo 3. I like games where I can know what I'm getting into. Destiny 1 felt like it got too much to be like chores for me, but 2 seems like I might spend maybe not as much time because I understand what Destiny is now. I understand what Taken King did. I'm just curious to see what Destiny 2 changes. Broad strokes, which we've kind of gotten like tastes of so far. I don't know, Pete, I know you always wanted to get into Destiny. You did play Destiny, but with Taken King, you played a little more.
Bit, yeah.
From what you've seen in the beta and everything, do you think on September 6th it comes out? Do you think you'll like give this another shot?
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't play Destiny only because by the time I realized that I should be playing this game, it was way too late. People were already just like running with it. And I feel like, yeah, the game is beautiful, has some interesting story stuff, plays really well, but so much of it is that shared experience you have coming into work, talking to your friends about it, just, owning this like this topic, and I couldn't do that. So with D2, I can just do that from the ground level. And yeah, just having this opportunity to start from scratch is great.
It becomes like a weekly or like a daily ritual. Like that's how I caught up with my brother for like 2 years, honestly. Like playing Destiny, and like we would go in, and again, it would feel good. If the game didn't feel as good, it wouldn't work. But that's how you become like this group almost. It becomes like a book club, honestly.
That's what I was jealous of. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
no, I mean, seems like a good opportunity to get into it.
Yeah, that's what I was missing with Destiny. I didn't really have that. And that's why I didn't put as much time into it. I'll definitely put more time into 2 than I did 1, just because I didn't have that. I joined with Taken King, and then I went back and played vanilla stuff. With this, it's like, I'm starting on the same footing as everybody else, which is why I like that your character doesn't transfer over, because it's almost like a clean slate for everybody.
Definitely.
Now I don't feel behind. I don't feel like I'm constantly catching up and trying to get to that next light level so I can do something with a group of people who are way ahead of me. Like all of my friends were ahead of me. So that's something I'm looking forward to with Destiny 2.
Right. And I remember when I tried to start again, like 6 months later. Actually, one of the funniest things is when I first started. Again, like 6 months later, I like joined. Like you do that intro mission, and then you're at the tower, right? And there were a bunch of really high level guys who saw me like, "Hey, dude, look at this guy!" They're like, "Oh, he just started. Hey, buddy, come over here and get this ghost." Oh man! And I felt like I was like in high school, like a bunch of seniors giving me shit or something.
Yeah.
And then you start hearing from like other people here, like, "Oh, you just started. Oh, you have 20 hours in order to do this."
Oh, yeah.
And so forth, where it's like, oh, like once you start hearing that and you don't have that group to join you,
right,
and you're just doing it by yourself, it's like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've gotten the chance to play the closed beta a little bit. If you have early access or you pre-ordered the game, you might already have been playing it as well. Friday, everyone can play. I believe Xbox One opened today at 10 a.m., if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds right.
PC will be sometime later this month or next month. They haven't announced a specific time. On Sunday, starting at 10 a.m. PST, the social space, the farm, the new tower, so to speak, will be open for an hour. I believe they're stress testing it. If you want to check it out and go play soccer or something and just hang out with a few other people, you could do that. 10 a.m. PST. So that's Destiny 2. I think overall, good impression so far.
Yeah.
I'm more excited than I was. I think this beta has served its purpose for me personally. I'm more excited for Destiny 2 than I was.
Same.
Yeah. Cool. That's our show. Giveaway. As you might have seen, Shiva just in our Twitch chat right at noon just posted. We're doing a Strafe keyboard. God damn it. I hate that photo. Strafe gaming keyboard.
Yo, you want
Corsair. So yeah, as usual, if you don't follow GameSpot on Twitter, go do so. Retweet that specific tweet so this dumb face can get more out there than it needs to be. I have a pimple on my nose in that photo. I hate this. Everything about it. Yes.
Now I see it.
So later on the week, GameSpot will pick a random winner from the people that retweet that tweet. That's our show. Cool. That's Ratchet, a plushie, by the way. A bunch of people were asking throughout the show. I never found a good time to break it up. I don't know why Rob put it on his.
I did not.
I
She
did that.
Oh.
I did that. Yeah.
Cool. Can you talk about what you're reviewing?
No, because I already kind of gave some sort of response to it.
Oh,
So
that you're
then-
liking it a lot?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I played it for 13 hours yesterday.
Destiny 2? No, just kidding.
The game I'm reviewing, I played for 13 hours yesterday, and I could have kept. The first thing I wanted to do this morning was keep playing.
In one day, you played 13 hours?
Yeah.
You dog.
Mystery game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Soon.
It's great. I can't wait to talk about it on Monday.
Next week.
Yeah, your review goes on Monday, so we'll clearly be talking about it a week from today on the lobby, I'm sure, in some capacity. What are you guys playing? Destiny 2 more until the end of the weekend? What are you playing?
Me?
Rob.
Huh?
What are you playing?
Game of
soon?
Life.
Destiny 2. Titanfall 2 update Tuesday. 4-player
We didn't
co-op
talk about
horde mode.
that.
We will Wednesday.
Oh man.
One of the bigger changes coming to Titanfall 2.
I'd say.
Do you play Titanfall 2?
Dude, man. Yes.
Yeah, it's a 4-player
So,
horde mode. We'll talk more about it Wednesday. Let's not prolong the end of the show with Titanfall 2 chat.
fine.
Sorry. Okay, go for it. Go for it.
Great.
Are you excited?
Yes, I am. Remember a few weeks ago when I was saying it's time to come back to Titanfall 2? Guess what? I was lying. Now it's time to come back in.
You'll say that with the next update. It does look fun.
They keep ramping up, man. Like you saw the weapon skins they had.
Yeah.
Oh, they look so cool. Those like give XP boosts, but the biggest thing is this co-op mode. Where like if you were intimidated by the multiplayer at all, like as far as feeling outmatched, this is like a really cool wave-based thing. Where like a bunch of new stuff, like apparently like new Titan upgrades that you kind of amount to with like cash and currency as you play.
purchase them throughout each game.
Yeah, there's like different difficulties. Like there's like an insane. So there's like obviously like normal, hard, and then master, and then there's like insane difficulty. Like what is that, right?
That's insane.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I'm really excited. So yeah, next week Tuesday we'll check that out.
maybe stream it. I was telling
We
you,
are.
it takes a good shooter to get me excited for a horde mode in 2017, but it looks like it'll be fun. Yeah, that'll be coming out. Callie, you gonna keep playing Splatoon 2 now that more people are out in the wild with it? Oh,
Yeah.
that comes out Friday.
Comes out
for those who don't know,
Friday.
July 21st.
I'm visiting my parents this weekend, so I can take my.
Kathy, when's she gonna come on the show and debate me?
Oh my god, I'm not gonna touch that right now. So I'll be able to take my Switch with me, which is why I love my Switch so much. And so I'll be playing that in the evenings. And I am playing Destiny, obviously. And yeah, I was gonna say something. I never mind.
Also,
Vague.
Mysterious.
Peter and I are streaming Zelda once again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Say what?
Yeah, so
Master mode.
we stream every day at 11. Rob and Pete have been doing Triforce stuff. Is it still called Triforce? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to
Why
be doing
not?
Master Mode, Hard Mode, and Zelda Breath of the Wild, so check back in for that. Me and Jake have started, we were trying to like play the games we talk about and reboot our show on Sundays, but now we decided because people seem to like it and watching us die, we're going to play some PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds for the next few weeks, see how it goes. We both have gotten our decent share of chicken dinners. Jake's got more than I have. That game is fun.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that game has made some like unknown streamers' careers in the last like few months.
Speaking of news, though, the Dr. Disrespect got banned. Yeah. I need to play that game. I had a dream that I was playing Battlegrounds, and I literally never played it because I'm afraid that I'll be terrible.
Oh, I'm terrible. It's just fun.
Yeah. I don't like being.
Xbox One sometime this fall, they're saying, hopefully. The desert map will be out semi-soonish, who knows when. And then there's another Mediterranean map they're talking about right now. It's just that one Eastern European 8x8 kilometer map, which a lot of people know really well after playing so much. Yeah, cool. So Triforce tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know what Joey and Jean-Luc have planned for Friday. They played Sneak King last
Splatoon,
week.
It's a normal one.
Splatoon.
Oh, Splatoon 2. What?
Oh yeah, because
Or Splatoon, as Joey says. No, not that Splatoon 2 is a bad game. I was just looking forward to seeing what game they
Whatever
dug up.
trash they dig
Yeah.
up. Yeah. Well, I
Oh,
wanna
we
play
found a lot
Splatoon.
of trash this week.
As usual, thank you so much to Jean-Luc Seipke, Eric Tay, and Richard Lee in the back. Thank you to everyone who joined on Twitch, YouTube, or GameSpot. We'll be covering more Destiny 2 throughout the week. Splatoon 2, I'm sure we'll talk more about the game Pete is reviewing. We'll have a lot to talk about next week, maybe Titanfall 2, and we'll be back at the same time, Wednesday, 11 a.m. We'll see you then.